Welcome to the Anime Research Society podcast, special edition episode. Our mission, to explore the depths of anime, the good, the bad, and the absolutely insane. We'll take a look at some of the best and the worst of the season, and give you some of our recommendations to lead you on your own research journey. I'm your host, Lisa Mior, and joining me today are a panel of experts.
It's just me.
It's just Preston. Hi, Preston.
Hey, it's Preston Doza.
Preston Doza's here.
Remington and Cole are not with us today, and they will regret this because we'll make them listen to this and realize, and I want to make them say, my God, what have we done?
They should never have left us to our own devices. Let's be real here.
Things are going to break bad.
I think we're going to speak for them, and we'll give them voices. It'll be great.
Oh, God, let's not.
No, it'll be great. I have puppets.
Puppets?
One is
puppets.
Cole.
Yeah, we need puppets in an
One
audio
is-
medium.
Yeah. Just listeners, visualize puppets. Puppet Cole, Puppet Remington. Hello, audience. That's Remington. Hello, everyone. That's
Why do they
Cole.
both look like Elmo?
I don't know. Maybe they both look like Elmo to me in my mind.
Oh, man, they're going to kill us when
They're
hear
going to kill
this.
us. We miss you, Cole. We miss you, Remington. Come back next episode.
But while they're gone, we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about a very special topic.
Yes, so we have another special episode coming at you. It's actually written on my script to say coming at you. I don't know why. It's the back to school episode because this is the beginning of September when we record this anyway. Whether it goes up at the beginning of September
And a
is a
few
different
days
story.
ago...
School started.
Yeah, and I just want to let you know, because you might appreciate this, and remembering this got me in the mood for the podcast, because as I was walking down the street a few days ago, right by a high school, I saw, just as I was walking down, 2 to 3 dozen cars drive in, and they all had the same situation. There was a parent driving and the most dejected-looking teenager that you could imagine in the front seat, who looked like they either wanted to die or had their heads like stuffed into their phones.
You had me at parents dropping them off at high school.
Everyone looked so just miserable and awful that it really perked me up and reminded me, yeah, I'm not in high school anymore.
10 out of 10.
Suckers.
They stopped. Like at least they made mom stop at least a block away so that they could go, "Don't drop me off in front of my friends. You're embarrassing me, Mom."
But I love you, Timmy.
Yeah, just a little kiss for Mama.
Yeah, let's
Isn't that how your mom did that?
No.
Just a little kiss, Preston,
No.
on the cheek for Mom.
Does she have a lisp? My mom doesn't have a lisp.
I don't
so-
know why your mom had a list.
No, you've never met my
Your
mom.
mom sounds like a lovely person.
Have I ever? Oh,
No,
we're not
you've never
getting into that. We're
no.
talking about school.
I just assume.
Animes.
Yeah, we're talking about assuming your mom is nice and she sent you to a good school. Ties into school animes.
The only school in my town.
Yeah, that's a nice school. It's not like the grocery store down the street. It's a nice school. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm veering off.
We will be talking about primarily high schools in anime this episode. And high schools in anime are pretty much...
Ubiquitous to anime.
Yeah, they're ubiquitous.
And there's a good reason for that.
They're
though.
across multiple genres, and the reason why that's the case, and it's the same reason why you get like live action shows or cartoons in North America that are set in high school, is because everyone has been, like, most of the audience watching these has been to high school, and it provides a way that you can relate to the characters in it. It's like, oh, I went to high school, so naturally I should relate to this football, like, or basketball jockey, even though I'm a nerd who has never played a sport in his life.
Exactly.
Or band and
The band high school. Those are my favorite ones. I've got some great high school dramas or animes that I want to talk about during this one. But it's interesting. It's good that you say that. What you just said. The thing that you literally just said is a good thing, because not only is that it like a very relatable topic, but the fact that we see high school anime in so many different genres like slice of life and shonen, and where the theme there is growing and becoming and discovering who you are. And your time during school, like whether you're at elementary school, high school, or whatever, those are the times where you actually have to answer those questions for yourself in real life. So it does make that relatable happen, but it also, like, that relatability can happen that way, but it's also a way to kind of bring a great, growth of conflict all the way across, right? So having that platform and like backdrop to everything is probably one of the best reasons why we see so much school in anime.
There's also another reason that Willing to Bet is pretty popular.
There's a very good reason for that.
Anime companies want the money of high school students, and they want to make stuff that relates to them.
I watched a lot of shows about high school when I was in high school. I didn't. Did you?
I guess. Yeah, I watched a few, but it was never...
Saved by the Bell.
Okay, I'm a lot older. I mean, a lot younger. I'm sorry. I missed
older. Let's go with older. I like older better.
I'm actually in 93, and I remember watching Saved by the Bell when I was like 15, as it was airing. No, I'm a time traveler. I'm kidding. But when I watched the anime that I watched in high school, it was shows that were set or at least had high schoolers in them and may have gone to high school, but it was never really about high school or prominently set in there. Like, I'm thinking about Bleach.
Yeah.
Ichigo Kurosaki, he's a high school student, but let's be honest, for a good 100 episodes there, he is nowhere near a high school or what you would call anything resembling a school. It didn't, and in the case of Bleach, just going off of it, it played a role in it, but school was never really a part of Ichigo's identity, so it just kind of became he's a high school student, so he'd attend school, and then shenanigans would happen. Okay,
so let's qualify, like we did with the food episode. I think we need to qualify. What are we going to stick with in defining the high school anime kind of thing? Are we gonna talk about anything that is in high school or school in general as a peripheral, like you say, Bleach, we know he's in high school, but we never really see a lot of the high school. We see some classes every once in a while. Or are we going to talk about ones that are centrally focused in school?
I want to focus on the ones that are centrally located around a school.
Okay.
I would say, though I also do want to touch on some of the other shows that are set around high school, because you would not believe, there are some shows out there that, I'm thinking off the top of my head, Code Geass. Code Geass, it's it's set in a high school, and it features a guy of high school age, and yes, he goes to school, and he's a terrorist. Notwithstanding the fact that he's royalty, because I imagine, the British royal family, they're, the young ones, they do go to high school. It's private, and it's fancy as all hell, but they do go to high school. And this one's just and you commit mass crimes.
Well, then what about Full Metal Panic? Because it actually does show them going to school. And he's a counter-terrorist, Secret Service agent.
I mean, look, high schoolers...
they have secret lives.
They can do a lot of things nowadays that we couldn't growing up.
Yeah, drive mechs.
Yeah, drive mechs, orchestrate terror campaigns. A lot of things, really. Fight in the afterlife, Angel Beats. Yes.
Yeah. Or, become ghost samurai warriors like Bleach. Or magical people magical anime everywhere.
Wow, you just so blanked hard on that. Sailor Moon.
I was trying to think of one specific one, and then all of them.
And then all of them just
literally
came at once.
All of them.
I don't know, Sailor Moon in that case.
Although, okay, have you seen Magical Girl Raising Project, which is out this season?
No, I have not.
It may come up in a future episode, but
it's
definitely a mobile game.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
It may come up in a future episode.
It is,
that's a threat that you wield over us because you made us watch Free.
Well, seriously, the fact that we're coming to we've already picked things we want to watch this season.
Yeah, so we're pretty much in the dregs.
We're in the dregs at this point, and there's not a lot of hope coming up, I gotta tell you. But anyway, Magical Girl Raising Project, we know they're at school, but we never see them at school, so that one doesn't count.
So it's kind of we just want kids these age so that they can relate to them. Because a lot, as I said before, a lot of shows that feature high school kids or some brief high school settings, they're just used that way so that they can market them to the masses.
Exactly.
And make a quick buck off of them. And I'm really glad that nowadays we're starting to see more and more college era animes, college level animes. Because personally, I'm okay, I get that growing, you want high schoolers and like younger kids growing up to like watch these shows and have something to relate to them through that, because like kids see people their age and they're like, oh yeah, he's like me, she's like me, and they want their parents' money to be spent on them. But there's also the market of people who have moved out of parents and have disposable income, and they want to spend money on stuff like that.
And let's be real, the fan base is aging, right?
Yeah, the fan base is aging.
That's why we're seeing more and more college level anime now than we've seen in a long time.
That's why we're seeing more mature, and I say mature not in like the violence or sex or the language type thing.
More mature characters.
But more mature characters, and even in the West, it's true. Like we get more mature shows over time.
Because
that aren't just like Saturday morning cartoon type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because now those of us who did grow up with that Saturday morning cartoon when it was only a certain block of time to actually watch it. Again, I'm older than you. I don't know if this was a thing that you grew up with, Preston.
I remember waking up in the morning and it's like, oh, Digimon and Pokemon on Fox Kids. Yeah.
So anyway, and so we only had like a little bit of time to watch it. And so we kind of carried that. Now you can see cartoons all the time. So I don't know what it's going to mean for like the aging generation from this current generation that had it. But for us, more media that's kind of nostalgic is being created. And I'm really sure that's another one of the main reasons why we're seeing a lot more college level anime and things like that, like more frequently in recent years.
So I think we should start. I want to focus first on shonen, since we did talk about Bleach and whatnot.
Yeah.
Shonens that are set in schools tend to, with few exceptions, not be about the schools themselves.
No.
Like,
I mean, we get the exceptions of like My Hero Academia, which is literally about going to school.
Like, it's a superpowered school, but they still have to study English.
Yeah. Bastard Magical Ashik Teacher. That one.
Akashic Teacher.
Bastard Magical. Yeah, whatever.
I can't even remember the name of that one. It's just so bad. Assassination Classroom.
Assassination Classroom, which is my favorite of all the shonen high school or school animes. Now, the reason why I love this show is because of Korosensei. All right, Korosensei, the way he acts as a teacher is textbook, right out of the pedagogical lessons that you get, like to teach certain mindsets. And so just to give a little background and information about like pedagogy and teaching in general, like, and how you would teach something. Western school systems now that are, the ones that are trying to advance themselves are taking pages out of the way the Japanese classroom functions. And the mindset that they're instilling and the way that they're framing the lessons and framing the way of teaching, it's not, when we went to school, it's all about getting the good marks kind of thing. You got to learn it, do it, and get a good mark kind of thing.
Yeah, got to remember the formulas, got to know the history, like facts.
Yeah, it's a lot more like memorization than anything else, right? Even though we did have our critical thought and it was just kind of different. But it's still kind of focused on like achievement in terms of grades, right? Grades are extremely important. I'm not saying that they're not in the Japanese classroom. Obviously, they're still very important. We see, if we're going to just forget anything else, if we're going to just take like anime as a reference, we constantly see that episode where kids are seeing their ranks in school, and we get a lot of reference to, oh, I'm number 1 in the classroom, I'm number 2 in the classroom, that guy's number 99 kind of thing, right? So we know that it's still important. But what the real focus in the way that lessons are taught in Japanese classrooms focus more towards a growth mindset, and where achieving the knowledge is more important than achieving the actual thing. Because once you've achieved the knowledge, that's how you know, and the marks are only there as a benchmark to say that I've achieved that knowledge kind of thing. And that's why there's like the idea is to learn from mistakes, you need to be in charge of your own learning, and the teachers are just there as kind of like a coach with more knowledge that are there to kind of support you in terms of like how you're going to be learning. So we get something called co-construction with students. So the teachers are asking a lot of prompting questions, and the kids are kind of coming up to their own solutions with that. And although and in a lot of anime that we watch now, we still see a lot of just teacher friend delivering the lesson, kids take notes and things like that. That's fair enough. But Korosensei is the one that's taking it directly out of like those pedagogical textbooks and like delivering lessons. So for example, do you remember this, like the second episode where blue-haired kid, what's his name? Nagisa. All right. Nagita was.
I'm pretty sure it's Nagisa. Yeah.
Nagisa. Yeah. I think you're right. So he was failing at felt he wasn't good at anything, and we got a quintessential moment of any school anime where a teacher is prominent, where they have the heart to heart about him being able to achieve what he needs to achieve, which is something we don't see a lot in like any other medium to this extent. We'll always see the heart to heart, like I'm there for you kind of thing, but not in as a teachable moment. And so we had Korosensei talking to Nagita about the fact that he couldn't throw baseball, and him saying, that's fine. You may have made a mistake, but you can learn from it. Today you achieved that far. Tomorrow you will achieve that far. It's a constant growth process, and you can do it. You need to celebrate what you can do today and learn from it and do better for tomorrow kind of thing. Yeah. And that like is a perfect encapsulation of like that particular teaching style. And I was like, right away, I'm like, yeah, this is accurate. I like this. This octopus is teaching accurately, more accurately than any human depiction in any other anime that I've seen. So that was my end rant there.
End rant.
Yeah,
Korosensei is definitely different for a number of reasons.
He's an octopus from space.
But it's one of the few shows that really focuses on like a teacher-student relationship. And it's a bit unconventional in how it presents that because, as you say, it is like getting the students to realize how they can learn rather than, okay, this is in 378 BC, we're going to talk about like the Odyssey or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Shokugeki no Soma.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, because I love that show. But I want to talk about
I don't think we've gotten an episode where you haven't, so we have to.
There have been times where I've never mentioned it. Let's be fair. It's not like I bring up all the damn time.
You were whispering it under your breath. He's like, Shokugeki.
Anyway, Shokugeki no Soma, it's ostensibly about going to the most prestigious food school in the entire world, I would say. At the very least Japan, but I'm willing to bet the entire world. And it's a high school, and sure, it's mostly focused on cooking. And I think there are mentions that, they still have to study like English and math and whatnot, but it's primarily focused on cooking. But it's less of a high school and more of a university, considering the scale of the campus and the resources available to the high school, because they must have a GDP that is the equivalent of like small European countries, because they're able to fund a campus that is larger than Tokyo University or any campus I've ever seen in my life.
It's got to be a private school, and they all come from like wealthy families.
You can feel like two trains running side by side alongside each other.
But isn't
in
that
Hokkaido,
like
along the entire route of Hokkaido.
Okay, now I never went to a private school, but I'm assuming that parents can pay for that, right? Like that, they have rich parents. They're all paying for this school. I would like to go to a school that had that kind of funding with a private train.
Yeah, like, I would like to go to that too. Doesn't mean that it's realistic in any sense, because there is no school on this planet that is like that.
Also, okay, if we're going to go unrealism, all right, forget the sensationalism of the whole thing. What else is unrealistic is the fact that they pit students against each other constantly.
And unrealistic that there's the fact that it has a 90% fail rate, and it's like, why would you go to school that has a 90% fail rate? Like, you're wielding, like, it's about being the best of the best, but at the same time, like, how is the school able to be profitable by the time students are in their third year?
I wonder if in actual life there are schools that are like a 90% fail rate, and they're like, fuck you, we're still failing you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe. Shokugeki no Soma, probably. It's not realistic in the slightest, primarily because it's less of a high school and more of a university.
Is it?
It's on the scale of a university.
But aren't they all high school students?
They're all high school students, but it's in effect like a university.
So maybe it's a vocational school.
It's vocational. I mean,
because then you can go from like high school through university all in the one school.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, then we have to go back. If we're talking shonen, we absolutely cannot leave out My Hero Academia, which is literally
My Hero Academia, which features. I am very glad to see that the students, like, even though there's a little time devoted, they do mention that like they have to attend English classes.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, so we're gonna focus on saving 101, hero saving 101. We're gonna go to PE, and now it's English.
And you know what? The one thing that My Hero Academia does better than any other high school anime, including those in Slice of Life, is it actually shows the test taking. I mean, okay, granted, in a Slice of Life, watching some kid take a test in high school is literally watching them, write
What's the
down
formula for a volume of a sphere?
Yeah, that would be kind of boring. But we actually do see their assessment process all the way through. And we do see them in class asking questions and, practicing for that sort of thing.
They are focusing on learning. And oftentimes, like, the questions aren't related to, like, heroism or using your quirk.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's just kind of neat.
Yeah. And so it's learning beyond, like, it's got great lessons in the sense that you're learning beyond whatever your talents are, kind of thing, which is great. And it's fun.
Okay, moving on from shonens, I want to talk about something that features prominently in Japanese schools and therefore features prominently in high schools in anime, clubs.
Yeah.
In North America, there's not really a focus on club activities. It's more of like the closest thing that comes to club activities is playing for a sports team, and you get like small town Texas, like 1,000 people are out cheering for their local high school football team or whatever, but you don't get the same level of enthusiasm or like encouragement to be in like the biology club or the school newspaper or whatever. But in Japan, a lot of there's clubs for a lot of different things. Like, yeah, there's still like the volleyball club and there's still the basketball club, but there are clubs that are dedicated to being like, okay, this is the photography club. Like, it's dedicated to small interests, but they're given much more emphasis because clubs are like, this is where you can like find yourself. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Japanese schools have a different hour system compared to North American schools.
A lot of the school structures, from what I understand, they go 6 days a week. And I think they're very similar to a lot of European frameworks in their school hours, where they start earlier in the morning and they end earlier in the afternoon, so that there's a large chunk of time devoted for that club activity, which is essential to, children's growth. It's great in terms of like actual learning, because there's less of an opportunity to forget between classes, for one, but there's also more of an opportunity for the practice that you need. Because it's one thing to just learn about what you're learning. That's fine, but you still need an opportunity to practice. So there's actual time blocked in where you're not exhausted at the end of the day to do your homework, kind of thing. Or join a club and build valuable social skills and work on the talents that you have that aren't necessarily covered by academics. All right. But one thing we got to go into about clubs is the fact that, yes, it doesn't just focus on sports, although we do see lots of sports, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But it focuses on, like, anything can literally be a club in high school anime.
There's the anime that came out this season or the season before. It's the climbing one. What's it called?
Encouragement Climb, which is a climbing... they're not actually climbing. I think they're more hiking up mountains, but
it's not like they're climbing rock walls or anything.
Yeah.
They're hiking. And it's a slice of life where it's just a bunch of girls who go hiking.
Yeah, they go hiking,
Yeah.
and they learn how to hike.
Yeah.
We also saw Laid Back Camp. They do a very similar thing. There's two girls who are in charge of, they love camping, and they started a camping club. And so the main two characters who we focus on at the beginning of the series find these girls at school, or rather they find them, and form this like camping club in school, which is something that you literally could not do during school hours, but they find ways to like make it an actual club so that they can, do actual camping outside of school. And another very similar one to that is out this season is with the beach volleyball. I never remember.
Harukana Receive.
Receive.
Oh, that we watched that in the previous episode. Don't watch it, but it's a show that's focused on volleyball, and within like it's on beach volleyball specifically, and they make note of this in the 3rd episode. But there is a volleyball club at the local high school, but but it's focusing on the beach volleyball division of the volleyball club, and it's just.
I don't know about you, but my high school did not have a beach volleyball club.
Also, no one in that. If we're going to talk about the school in that show, there is no other students in that show except for the main characters. They don't actually learn anything, and everything seems to be like, oh, I'm just dragging you away from after you signed up for classes, and I'm just dragging you to the beach volleyball club.
I think the only time we ever see school in that is that scene where she gets dragged out of class to sign up for beach volleyball club. Yeah.
Another anime that's focused on a club, and it's probably one of my favorites. And it's also so weird because there's no club like this in the Japanese high school. Let's be upfront. I refuse to believe that. And if anyone listening can provide me proof that there is an Oran High School host club in a Japanese high school or something like it, oh man.
And then you know what the best part is? I mean, I guess this is where we cross into the shoujo manga kind of shoujo manga. Thank you. I don't know where that came from. Wow. Genre, because this is not the only one of its kind, even in an anime. Because we have a few maid club, and there was a prince's club as well in another series. But anyway, go on about Oran because I love this anime too.
Yeah, Oran is short summary. It's just about a male host club at a high school.
Yeah.
At a very rich high school that apparently has a vase worth 8 million yen for some reason, because that's something you totally give to a high school club.
I mean, my high school had one, didn't yours?
I mean, no, for obvious reasons. Also because we didn't count money in yen, because I went to school in Canada with Canadian dollars.
It was a gift.
It was a gift.
It was a gift.
Gift my ass.
We didn't have that.
It's a show that is very, very little of it is focused on high school. It's more akin to like a slice of life or a comedy that's set in the school. Like there are very few shots of showing like the characters actually attending school. Most of it's focused on club activities in their very spacious and fancy room, or club activities outside of their very spacious and fancy room. Which is, I am not sure if I made myself clear. Very spacious and very fancy. Yeah, but it's a good comedy. It's set around. It just strikes me as odd. Like whenever I think about it, it's like, yeah, I get that your high school characters this is set in high school, but that's not really affecting anything. And also, this is still kind of unrealistic for this being a thing. I don't know. But I still love it.
It's you know what? It's unrealistic.
Just a note that I make in my mind.
It's unrealistic, but it doesn't even matter because I mean, we still get the high school experience in terms of like the high school relationships that they build. And so, if we're gonna go down that shoujo comedy road, then we also have to talk about Kiss Him, Not Me. Have you seen this one?
I have not.
Okay, so Kiss Him, Not Me is about an anime club. In the very loosest sense. All right, so this girl who is a bit of she's an otaku, very much an otaku, to the point where she's really happy with who she is. She's great right off the beginning, but it's very obvious that she is as comfortable as she is in her own skin. She's not putting forth a lot of effort to look conventional or anything like that. Like she literally watches anime all night and then rolls out of bed and comes to school. So one day, and she has this collection of guys who are really good friends of hers because they're into anime. They can talk to her casually in anime. She is not super hot. So they're like, oh, well, you're one of the guys. It's cool. We can all be friends kind of thing. And they've been friends for a really long time. One day, she watched an anime where her favorite character died. And she did not come to school for an entire week because she was so depressed. She gets back to school and because she wasn't eating or anything else, she became this like ideal bombshell, as we see of the ideal body image in anime. All right, I'm trying to be delicate here, but she comes out like that. All of a sudden, all her guy friends in this anime club start getting like really like attracted to her, obviously, and it's just. She's still herself, so she's like, they all try to date her, and she's like, I'm still watching my anime. You guys can come with me and in part of this club, and we're going to go find more anime stuff. And it's just a great, like, back and forth of the whole thing. And we get the whole, like, quick relationships because, of course, we get in any school anime, we got the budding romances, and that's what we want to follow. But we also have, you know, the friendships and the club aspect and the growth that happens along the way.
But is it accurate to like? I say accurate, but is it?
She lost like 100 pounds in a week. Also didn't die.
Yeah,
so how accurate is that?
Is it a show that's set around a school, or is it a show that's like school's the primary focus though?
They're at school the whole time. And except for they decide to, like, the only time we see them going out is they're in the club room and talking about a field trip, and then we'll see them on their field trip to like a manga shop or like an anime expo.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is Danganronpa a school anime?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say yes.
Like it is primarily set in the school and about they don't actually learn anything.
Not as much as say Persona.
Yeah.
Persona's a little bit more of a school anime than Danganronpa, but they're technically in school, and it is centered, like, everything that happens at the school for the most part, right? So, I mean, it is after hours, and they are being chased by deadly things, and, you know.
Oh, they're killing each other.
And they're killing each
yeah,
other.
You know, normal high school things.
You know, that's what
when
I did in high
in-
school. No,
when I
we
was in
didn't do
grade
that in high
12,
school.
there were 6 homicides in 1 month. No, there weren't. I'm joking.
I don't know. You grew up in Winnipeg.
No, I didn't. You don't know me. Gosh, Lisa. I think overall, thinking about school anime, the most common genre and the most common kind that they are is slice of life.
Yes.
Because, like, what's a better slice of life than reminiscing about your high school days? Even though a lot of the slice of life is just like, hey, this is the friendship club, and we just make friends with each other.
Now, in strictly slice of life anime, we don't see a lot of a lack of romance. Like it is a hand in hand for pretty much the majority of it.
There are a lot of shows that are just pretty much dedicated to, like, yeah, they're in high school and they're gonna meet, they're gonna fall in love, and then at the very end, we're gonna cut to 10 years later when the delinquent becomes a productive member of society through the Japanese school teachings, married to his high school sweetheart, has a kid. And yeah, happily ever after. I'm looking at you, Yamada-kun, and the 7 Witches.
Well, okay, so let's talk about another...
I think in a future episode, I'm going to have to talk about how much I hate epilogues. They're like, yeah, we got to 10 years later. Here's 6 pages about that everyone being happy and whatever. And I'm like, no, now I want another show that shows them being happy together forever. Please.
We don't get that with... You know Honda-kun? I brought this up a few...
Honda-kun.
Yeah, because that is very, very dedicatedly school comedy shoujo anime.
The Disastrous Life of Saiki K.
The disastrous. Well, that's a show. That's a shonen. We should have brought that up in shonen.
Is a shonen.
Disastrous Life of Saiki K is very much a high school anime.
Yeah, because most of it is set in and around the school. I have a list pulled up right now, and I'm just like been browsing through it for a while, looking up shows. High School DxD.
Okay, full disclosure. I couldn't make it through one episode because it was just loud, obnoxious. And, okay, just forget what the topic in hand, and we know how bad this is. It's just really, really bad.
It's not a good show.
It's not a good show. And I don't even think they even made it to high school at any point. They're in, like, a field watching a practice at the beginning, right?
Yeah, there may have been a few seconds of school. I have not watched this since I was in high school, because in high school I was like, yes, I need to watch High School DxD because I was of the age.
Yeah, of course you were, and you need to see boobs.
Yeah, boobies. Yeah, it's an ecchi. There's a lot of ecchis that are set in high school, really, which is pretty creepy now that I've gone older.
Yeah.
At the time, though, when I was like 16, 17, I was like, yeah, boobies. And now that 10 years later, I'm just like, I wish they would stop. Creeps me out.
Yeah, I think, well, I guess when you're older, you don't want to watch it.
No, because I'm just like constantly like, no. It just weirds me out too much. Prison School is a school anime.
Prison School is a school anime, technically.
Yeah, technically. Same stuff as High School DxD, really.
All right, so what does it have to make it a school anime? Very specific. Aside from the fact that they are in a prison school, what are like the key signifiers that we've identified already that make it a school anime?
They have to regularly attend class.
Okay.
I I would say any show that has club activities in it kind of just automatically gets a pass as a school anime. Like, I mean, automatically is a school anime because it's focused on, like, an intrinsic activity. Prison School, however, is like... There's no school that has a jail cell in the middle of the grounds. Like, there's none. Like,
I mean,
none in modern society, I would
one
hope.
might think detention. Huh?
Yeah, I was just going to let you keep going for a while
Okay.
there. Yeah, like, it is a school anime. Like, it's just a way, but it's mostly, like, ecchi. It's a seinen. It's a comedy. A little bit of romance. It's just set around a school because school is, again, relatable. Even though I feel that some of the people in the show were probably university age or might actually be university. It's just, I don't know. I want to see Prison School, but done at a university.
Okay.
I want to see, like, all the shows that we previously mentioned, but done at as university.
Wherever, do you want to see all the characters aged up?
Aged up? No, because, like, I still want to see, like, Shokugeki no Soma at university because I feel like cooking would be a bit more different there. It just feels weird to me, like, vocational schools and the like.
Yeah.
Those are something that you do after high school. Like, there's very few of them.
Oh, well, some actually do start in high school.
Some of them do start in high school. Fair, but
like,
it's just me wanting to be like
cooking, especially. Actually,
okay, I'll confess. A lot of the reason why I want to see more university anime is because university was a better time for me, and I have fonder memories of
than
it
high school.
And
I think a lot of people our age feel the same way.
Yeah, and when you think of like. As much as you think I mentioned Food Wars a lot, but I've mentioned Grand Blue a lot more. That show really benefited.
But it's worth mentioning, okay?
Yeah, that show benefited from being in university. Because mostly due to the illegality of drinking alcohol in high school. But
I mean, that's what, okay, well, here's the thing. You have to have it because, like, that's where you're going to be doing all that alcohol. Like, you're there where you're doing the alcohol.
Where you're doing the alcohol.
Where you're doing the alcohol. So, like, you are going to be, that's what people connect with because those, for a lot of kids, that's the first time they became legal. And so we're going to see a lot of those, like, drunken escapades. And so that's, I think, one of the big reasons why Grand Blue Dreaming really has that pull. So going back to that whole nostalgia factor for those of us who are a little bit older and graduated university and watching that.
Right.
When you talked about Prison School, I immediately went to Kenka Bancho Otome, Girl Beats Boys. Have you seen that?
Why do I have a feeling that it feels familiar? But go ahead.
Okay, so there's this girl.
No.
Yeah, there's this girl. So she wants to go. She got accepted into this really good school, and she runs into this guy who looks identical to her, and is supposed to go to this very exclusive boys only school, but he doesn't want to. So he makes her change places with him. Turns out it's a fighting school, so the idea of the school is you have to work towards either not getting your butt kicked or like becoming the top dog of the school and beating up all the third years and fourth years and stuff like that. So it's technically a school. Yeah. There are no teachers. It's gutted so because of all the fighting and like everything. There's like literally no physical classrooms anywhere. But it's a school.
There are, now that you said fighting schools, there are a lot of anime that are set in and around schools that are solely devoted to fighting. Yes. And I'm like...
There's so many. It's in a genre in its own.
And it's not even like training for like, oh, we need to pilot a mech or whatever. It's like just fighting. It's like martial artists. There's no school like that. But again, a lot of these are... Okay, realistically, there is no school there's no high school age thing that is solely dedicated to fighting. But we gotta relate to those kids.
I guess?
Like that seems to be the logic for it. Like, we just need to relate to the kids. Like, oh man, if we made them 19 and put it in a university, like the 16-year-olds, they wouldn't get it. But if we made them 16 and they're at a high school and they're like breaking concrete walls with their kicks. Yeah, that's something that happens in high school, right?
That's how you're successful.
I'm being jaded as I say this, but like there's a trend towards a lot of shows being like, we set it in high school, even though a lot of the stuff that would happen in this high school wouldn't actually, like, there's nothing in common with other high schools. We're just saying in high school so we could get the age range in.
Okay,
so they're the least school-like almost, I
guess. Yeah, okay, so let's go back onto track to some of the more school-like. So I guess we have to go to some of the romance anime or the friendship anime.
Yeah.
Lucky
Star.
We could talk about Lucky Star.
Lucky Star. Love that show. Lucky Star it's comedic. Like, it is a comedy. But it is also one in which we see, like, everyone goes to school. Everyone lives normal lives. They take tests. They study. And it's just the interactions of the people who go to the school.
Yeah.
And I like that. And that's pretty much how, like, high school tends to work, really. Like, there are moments, I'm pretty sure, like, we've been to high school, there are moments that are just funny and stupid when we've gone to it. And again, it's just, if someone took a slice of our lives for that, it could be an anime. Though, not my life, because it was miserable. But, I kid, it was somewhat miserable. And no one should watch that as an anime. That would be really, really...
I want to see an anime of your high school life.
Oh, God, I'm just...
Which character are you?
Which character am I? Are we talking about Lucky Star, or are we talking about
just in general? What's your anime character?
Oh man,
you gotta pick your trope.
I would be a supporting cast member, and I would be oh man, I'd like to think that I'd be the smart one.
Okay.
Like, the smart one who's just like, yeah, we know, like the guy who like pretends to know what he's doing almost, but really knows nothing. Probably.
Okay, so you're that guy.
But then who also doesn't need to study that much for school. Humble brag.
You're the whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
No, that was high school only. I had to work my ass off in university.
I think, yeah. Well, high school is easy.
Also, math sucks.
Math is the best.
God, now we're just reminiscing about our high school days.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, I talked about this, I think, a couple episodes ago, Hayoka. That is a really good high school anime because we do get a nice even distribution of, like, class time versus club time. Mm-hmm. And their literature club that solves mysteries. For those who didn't hear the previous episode, it focuses around this one boy who wants to conserve as much energy as possible. And he meets this one girl who he alludes to having a crush on, but that's a lot of effort, so he doesn't actually admit to that.
Like, a lot of effort, man.
A lot of effort.
A lot of effort to have a crush.
A lot of effort to have a crush.
God, you need to eat so many calories to keep up with it.
So his sister encourages him to join something that she was part of when she was in high school called the Literature Club, and they go around and they solve mysteries within the school, but it's literally focused around all the mysteries that happened in the school before them. And I think this is a great example of a quintessential school anime because we've got the relationship, budding relationship check. We've got all the friendships that are forming. We have one thing we have to talk about after this. We have our quintessential festival episode. The school festival episode.
Yeah, the school festival, which really doesn't have much of a relation in any American or
we don't
Western stuff. There's not an emphasis on like a cultural festival type thing.
Yeah.
But there's the obligatory cultural festival episode in every show. It's like, we gotta prepare a play.
What's your favorite cultural episode? Cultural fest episode?
Cultural festival episode.
Anime and episode.
Oh, geez. You're really putting me on the spot here.
I know.
Ooh. What's yours?
All right. Fine. Since you put that back on me. I'm going to have to go with the school festival episode of Psyche K. Just because literally everything... It's just so Psyche K. Like, it's got every aspect of, his trying to hide his abilities, and just the fact that his friends are constantly trying to be friends with him and spend time with him, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. And it's just really funny in that sense. Mm-hmm.
I would say that mine, hey, I'm bringing it up again. Guess what? It's Shokugeki no Soma. Where it has it's not just an episode, it's an entire arc dedicated to the school festival, where basically they have to it's a week-long festival where all the students have to run their own facilities, like their own restaurants, like from hot dog carts to fine dining to like Chinese restaurants and everything in between. And they have to buy their own ingredients and they have to meet sales figures, and if they don't turn a profit, they're expelled. It's the most hardcore food, it's the most hardcore school festival due to length and the consequences involved.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like everything that show is, hey, it's been another week of Preston talking about Shokugeki no Soma.
Yeah.
I can't wait for season 4 so I can talk about it more.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Because, yeah, that's all I've said. We could keep going because we didn't even talk about...
keep going talking about different shows.
Yeah. Sports festivals, too, are another big prominent
Sports
thing.
Festivals,
that we really...
the Persona series, which is just revolves around schools as a core thing.
Yeah, but we're saving Persona for a very special episode.
For a very special episode, yes.
A very special episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's all we have to say today. And thank you, listeners, for listening. You can tune into Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, CG Magazine, or your favorite podcast app to listen to the continuing adventures of the Anime Research Society. Have a question or comment for the Society? Tweet us at @A_R_Society, or find us all on Twitter. Preston, what's your Twitter?
It's at Preston Doza, spelled DOZSA.
You can find Cole at Kaiser Watson. Kaiser_Watson, and Remington at Remington Joseph. Does he have an underscore in his?
Nope.
I don't think so. And you can find me at Lisa Awesome with no E's. Like the Anime Research Society on Facebook and leave us a comment. What was your favorite high school anime? What was your favorite sports day episode or festival episode? 'Cause we didn't even talk about sports day, so talk about sports day. It'd be great. We want to hear from you. And from everyone here at the Anime Research Society, happy researching.